Hey guys, it's me, Hollow Ghost. I'm back at it again with another walkthrough tutorial on the latest remix, North Star by SABAI, Hoang, and Casey Cook. I just want to say thank you guys so much for the positive comments that you've been leaving on the remix. It has been absolutely amazing to see so many people enjoying the remix and just giving me compliments for it. It's truly like heartwarming to say the least. I'm truly grateful for you guys, you know, fully appreciative of what you guys, just all the things that you commented. But anyways, without further ado, let's just kind of get into it. So yeah, the remix. So I entered the contest to kind of see if I had a shot at entering and just kind of see what I can do and just have my own unique spin on it. But yeah. So what I was given during the remix here was just the vocals, nothing much more than that. So we'll kind of get started off with the first thing, which will start in the intro. So we'll kind of start off first, which is the atmosphere. So this right here I got from a sample pack from Styx. A nice little like guitar tonal ambience here. This right here, this one I used from the actual vocals and just kind of reverbed it out to make it ambient. So I'll show you real quickly how I did that. So say for example, I highlight these parts here. I usually go to an Ableton reverb here. And what I would do, I usually set the decay time to like something around like 22 or something like that. Full wetness there. And then I press the freeze tab right there. So you have like this ambiance that's just gonna keep continuing on and on and on. So that's kind of like what I did there for the vocals ambiance there. So that's how I did that. And then over here, this atmosphere is from an Omnisphere preset. So I have it right here as well. And I just use like just two tonal notes together to kind of create like a beautiful like high-end atmospheric stuff. And this one's called Across the Sky. Has like a nice little like shimmering effect, which is really nice to kind of add for atmosphere. And then Virtual Riot atmosphere, along with this from Splice, which I think I use these guys quite a lot in some of my songs, along with Kashmir fireplace, very quiet, along with some like forest foliage, birds chirping. But yeah, other than that, let's see. And go to the instrumentation here. So, piano. This is the standard piano that you use quite a lot. This one is a soft piano, which is some Valhalla Room, OTT and glue compressor, and just EQing it, just giving it some boosts with a high shelf. And then secondly, we got the main melody. So this guy right here is just a simple wavetable. I just kept it at a sine here. I didn't really do much with it. It's mainly coming down to like the audio effects that I kind of did post-process. So I just added a bit warmer preset saturator, EQ'd out some of the low end, and then use some dynamic EQing to kind of just balance it out. Add some reverb, delay, and then some subtle stereo auto pan to this. And for the melody, I try to like kind of replicate the original song, the main guitar melody, as closely as possible, but kind of give it my own unique take. And also, underneath all that, I also have an arpeggiation of the bell. This is kind of following along the chords here that I have. So when you combine these two together, the melody kind of acts as like an accent to the arpeggiation, and thus you get like a beautiful like little melody that's going on here. But yeah, so secondly, we'll kind of go here. Reversed audio sample of my piano. And then right here is another Omnisphere preset, atmospheric stuff, and I believe, yeah, Agape Sheen. I just add some OTT, some EQing, and Valhalla Room. And along with that, I have these two guys here that are arpeggiated. So let's start with this guy. Both of them are Omnisphere presets. So this guy, Elegant Picking. And then on top of that, you have Ambient Space Piano here as well. And so what I'm doing with these guys here is that I am automating all these three here. I don't know if I can highlight that, but I'm highlighting all these three here and just kind of creating like oops, did not mean to do that. Whoopsie daisy, hang on. Yeah, but let me see if I show the automation real quick. Yeah, here we go. So I just try to give it like a nice little swelling effect with the automation with the auto filter here. Just the frequency. I just try to like open it up like slightly and then just like have a decrescendo down. So it just kind of gives it some nice movement there. But yeah, if we go to the second half here, let's see. Just have a nice little counter melody that's kind of going on with the bell melody. So this one right here is, I think I made this a while back. A serum preset I made for myself that's using Decapitator. A hollow room, shoot out some of the bits. And some delay and OTT here. And underneath this one as well, to kind of humanize it a bit, I gave it a moon guitar from Spitfire Labs. Same process. I just used Decapitator with some punish on. Valhalla Room, EQ, delay, and OTT. So these guys act as like a nice little like a little counter melody that's kind of like going underneath all of the bell melody. And then underneath these guys here, for the low end, we got the respace here. Very quiet. This one's a preset in Silent, using a bit warmer, and it EQ'd out all the high end here. Some subtle distortion from KHS. Then underneath that, we also have a nice little like bass cello like underneath that, which I think I use, yeah, power strings plus Tron. Just to kind of give it some humanization. But yeah, that's kind of like what I did there. So then we'll kind of get to build up here. No matter how far, you always walk me through the dark. I fall into the sky. Oh, and hang on. Before we get to that real quick, I just kind of want to go over the drums real quick. So the drums. So in the breakdown here, let's see if I can hold these. So we have the main kick here, which is just a nice little like a thumpy kick from a glitch mob sample. On top of these guys as well is going to be the snare. So we have a rim shot. And then during the second half of this part here, like I kind of added like some more, as you can see here, layerings. So in the second half of the second half of this part here, I just kind of added some more snare layers from Crane. You combine all these guys here, just gives it a nice little like really slappy snare like within the drums. So along with that, I added some just subtle little effects here. These guys. So if I have to show you real quick, let me move this guy here real quick. So with these two here, it adds like a nice little like a little glitchy reverse like every like 2 hits. So when you combine these guys together, gives it a nice little like sway, like a nice little variation to the snares. Gives it some interest. And along with that, for the percussive elements, I just found a lot of these things from splice samples. So we got this guy. There's a hi-hat. And then a percussion element from Virtual Riot, and then J views, along with another Oliver sample, with just some slight little side chaining from the kick and snare, I believe. But yeah, I think that's all I added there for the drums there, so nothing too special there. I do like to kind of mess around with the drums. I like to have it, give it some organic type of stuff and human elements, just to kind of like, it just kind of creates like a lot of interest, at least to me, at the very least. But yeah, let's go down to the breakdown real quick. No matter how far, you always walk me through the dark. So we have the claps here that just kind of like drives the whole thing. And along with that, what's been added is the guitar samples and bass guitar that I added here. So these guys, all of these guys I transposed to make sure that they fit along with the chords here. And see right here, like transposition. All these guys are kind of coming together to kind of create like this nice little like build up. I had to do like my own little process since I don't play guitar, nor do I have a bass guitar with me. But yeah, this is kind of like a nice little way to kind of add those elements in. Just transpose them and do your thing through there. But yeah, let's kind of go to the build up here real quick. So the main elements, let's go to the drums. This is kind of like the highlights of this. Let's see. We had the main snares here. Pretty much just all layered to kind of create this nice acoustic marching snare. So we have an FN sample here with this transient kind of taken out because I didn't want that. I just wanted the tail end. Only with these two here, the Kashmir samples. They're mainly there to kind of create that nice little punchy acoustic elements to give it character for the build up. And then along with that, we have the orchestral hits. More drums. Nothing too crazy going on here. This guy, again, is just another splice sample that I found that was really nice for build-up. And then we'll go here. A simple cymbal hit for every 8th note. Along with a, no, this is just a regular sample. Just a percussive element here from Crane, and then you got this build-up I found. And I add, and I layered that with this guy. Just to create some more tension, layering underneath all of that. But yeah, that's all I did for the percussion and snare elements. So along with that, I also start teasing a bit of the drop here with my leads. So we'll kind of get to this part here in the drops. So let's get to this. Baby, I'm a North Star. All right, so now that we're here, let's go through my leads. So the first layer here is a preset that I made a long time ago that I kind of use a lot in my melodic basses. This is just basically, I believe, just a regular silent preset. Yeah, it's just a. I believe this is a trisaw. I just used some voices, just kind of filled around with that. Used some decapitator, EQ, OTT, another EQ. And then a Virtual Riot sterilizer, which I believe I got from Excellent Sound Designs, if I recall correctly. Just kind of sterilized the lead a bit. And then I added Ableton Amp to give it some more distortion. And then some Valhalla Room, a Pro EQ, some of the bits here, and some glue compressor with a soft clip on it. So underneath that one, you got this guy. Silent preset. Get this out. Decapitator, Valhalla Room, and OTT. And underneath this guy, I have an Omnisphere preset that uses Brain Anomaly 2. And it's just pitched up just 12 semitones up to kind of fit along with the leads. But yeah, that's what you have for the leads there. And then let's just go down the list here. Kind of go with the vocal chops. So I took the vocals from the original, and I just kind of did some vocal chops. I kind of just put it underneath all the mix there because I didn't want it to be too upfront. So this is what it sounds like. That's pretty much like what it is. I didn't really do too much with it. I used like Alter Boy. Pretty much like a lot of my vocal chops uses Alter Boy. I used Decapitator to distort it, EQ'd it, and use a de-esser along with the OTT. But yeah, it's very subtle. You can barely even hear it, unless you really listen to it. So here's the context. And when you take that element out, you can kind of tell, like, you know, something's missing around there. So it's a very subtle thing that I kind of added along inside the mix there. But yeah, let's go to the saws real quickly. So this is my main saw, just a regular silent init, just initialization there. I just added some Saturn with a saturate in color. So this is what it sounds like. Underneath that is AU5 super saws, which I think he did a tutorial on this one in like a latest video, which I kind of was learning from. Gives it like a nice little chaotic element in the mix, and then some silent strings. They're like higher in the octaves here, along with an Omnisphere preset, which I believe this is Flaming Super Saws. Yep. Nice little distorted sounding element that kind of like hides underneath all that. So when you combine them together, big old sound there, big old wave of sound. Yeah, and then underneath all of these guys here, we'll just kind of go to the atmospheric parts, which I got these from a Nurko sample pack. So when you listen to it, along with this guy, on their own, they sound pretty bad. Like, especially if you have headphones on, it sounds pretty bad on their own. But in the context of things, it works well in the song. That I just kind of kept them in there because I thought I could barely notice that. Barely hear like all like those weird frequencies that's kind of going on there that sounds off when it comes to atmosphere. So I just kept it in there, and I thought it kind of worked out just well. But yeah, let's go to the basses, which is pretty straightforward. I don't think I really add too much processing to this. So yeah, this is just the Omnisphere. It's a driving super saw that's just in a lower octave. This one, Dark Cooper. Kind of a bit up over the previous bass. And then you got another one. That Company, another preset from Silent. And then this one I used as well, another preset from Silent that I just added with my own audio effects that I kind of added here. So combine these guys, kind of get this nice little like thick bass that's kind of hiding underneath all that. And along with that, you just got my regular sub here. Oh, I had this on. Let me fix that. There we go. So when you got the sub here, regular sub that I use quite a lot, just a hip hop sub bass with some overdrive in the low frequencies and just EQ'd out all the unnecessary frequencies. But yeah, that's kind of like what I added there for the drop. And then these guys here are just some effects that kind of added in between the spaces to transition. So it's just a lot of it's just experimenting with a bunch of samples that I found, glitches, lasers, that type of thing. It's just messing around with like samples and see what worked. But yeah, that's kind of like what I added there for like the effects between that. And then, in the second half of the drop, then we reintroduce the main melody that was introduced in the verse. So, we introduced this guy here, which is a lead saw screamer. A lot of saturation, EQ, and some OTT. We reintroduced the bell again. This time with some more overdrive and some more processing to it. Along with the 7 lines of square lead. And then another lead from Silent with some OTT and just some bit of widener here in the stereo field. But yeah, when you combine these guys together, just a beautiful element that kind of like adds so much more like to the progression of like this drop. And yeah, I was happy like with how that turned out. It's just the same old melody, just minus like maybe adding a couple of these like little arps here that kind of goes up and down. It's pretty much like the same melody from the verse. But yeah, and lastly we'll kind of just go over a bit of the drums. So the main kick and snare. Here I got a bass mono utility on the drum and snare, some drum bus with just a bit of a drive, 25% on this dry and wet. And I also used the dry and wet Valhalla room to kind of give it some more ambiance, but I didn't want to like wash out my kick and snare. EQ'd out some of the bits, and let's see. And then I kind of combined them, the kick and snare together with a bit of soft clip. But yeah, the main kick. Just a glitch mob snare or a glitch mob kick, and then I layered that with just a regular hi-hat. It's subtle, but it kind of gives it a nice little transient to the kick. And then snare, nice and slappy on that one. We got a virtual riot snare for the main transient, and then this is kind of like the more washy element, the barely alive snare. Along with the AU5. Very poppy there. Now hard snare. So I just took out all the transients on all 3 of those snares, with this guy being the main transient driver here. And just nice, makes for a nice little punchy snare. And underneath these guys here, just standard hi-hats, the 8th notes, quarters. Yeah, so nothing too special there, nothing going on really there. And the cymbals, I just kind of pan to the right and left a bit, to give it nice little like heavy crashes that just goes over the stereo field. Along with this guy, some exhaust, and another driving force is the ride and crashes here. So we combine all these guys. Yeah, nothing too much going on here. Just pretty straightforward. Just 8th notes, quarter notes. Nothing I really did too drastically here. Just something to kind of drive the drums throughout the drop. But yeah, that's kind of like what I did there. And I'll kind of go over this real quickly. See. So what I kind of did here was I from the master rack, I usually have like a utility that kind of goes -6 dB to make sure that like nothing sounds distorted when I do the final mastering process. That's kind of like how I do things. I have another utility here. This is mainly just for buildups, automation, just to kind of like, you know, have the stereo field like kind of like, you know, narrowed down a bit, along with the dB volume to kind of go down a little bit, just subtle. And then when the drop hits, it just impacts a bit more. It's a bit of a subtle thing. This is something I kind of learned from watching a barely alive tutorial. It just adds so much in the whole mixing process. But yeah, along with that, I have a saturator here as well in the master with 2 dB of drive, and I just took -2 dB on the output with some soft clipping. And then I got an Ableton limiter, just add some 3 dB of gain, and I just gave it -2 dB on the ceiling, just so the limiter is doing something. And then to kind of mesh it all together, I have a Pro L limiter here. So let's go to the drop here and just kind of show how these guys are pulling through. And as you can see here, I added just 3 dB a game. This is barely doing. It's just doing just enough, but it's not like doing a whole lot of work where it's like it sounds distorted or sounds awful in the mix. So this is exactly how I wanted it, and it came out pretty good. And actually I think I used an all around preset for that, and it turned out quite well. I actually liked how it sounded. But yeah, then you got my span and Yolian loudness meter. Both of these are free, by the way. Highly recommend them when you want to use it for referencing. Yeah, but other than that, that's pretty much like how I did this song. And the second half of the elements here is pretty much like the same, just maybe some different elements all around. But yeah, nothing I did too drastically. Other than that, that's just kind of like how I did like this whole song here. But yeah, other than that, that's just how I did the whole remix. But yeah, I want to say thank you guys so much for supporting me on this remix. This is truly just an amazing experience to like have a song like this with so much positive comments. I truly want to thank you guys, and I hope you guys learned something from the walkthrough. I'm not exactly the best type of teacher for teaching stuff like this, but I hope you guys learn a little bit something out of this and maybe get inspired to make some more songs or something like this. But yeah, other than that, I will catch you guys on the next video, and with that, I'll see you guys in the next time. Peace.